Welcome to the Sellin' Podcast with Jeffrey Greif. Jeffrey has spent more than 45 years in sales and marketing. And for more than 25 years, he's presented sales seminars from large corporations to small businesses, as well as teaching university students all about the pride and passion of sales. Now, he's sharing that knowledge and practical advice with you to fast-track your journey to sales success. Whether you're selling a product, a service, or ideas, this is the Sellin' Podcast. And now your host, Jeffrey Greif.
Persistence. You gotta keep on keeping on. I love this quote from Eddie Cantor. Eddie Cantor was a comedian, actor, dancer, singer, songwriter, author, film producer. Eddie Cantor is famously quoted as having said, quote, "It takes 20 years to be an overnight success," end quote. I love that quote. To me, that means two things. The first being that successful people understand that you have to work hard for many years. The second thing that this quote means for me is that the losers in life, the people who just don't make it, they don't see what it takes for someone to be successful in this life. They just don't understand success. They think that everybody's home watching TV and eating potato chips for 20, 30 years, just like they are. They don't see that you have to work hard. Successful people like you and me, we're up early, taking calculated risks, working long hours into the night when everyone else is sleeping. And when many years later, you finally achieve some success, they think, boy, oh boy, he was lucky. Just happened to be in the right place at the right time. He's so lucky and an overnight success. Then they ask you for money to help them out because they can't pay their bills. Don't do it. You've worked way too hard and way too long for the past 20, 30, 40 years while they've watched every stupid rerun on TV. They made their bed, let them sleep in it. The reason why we hear about people who become an overnight success, like, for example, overnight celebrity, like actress Lana Turner being discovered and hired when a producer happened to walk into a candy store and she was sipping on the soda. Or the reason why we hear about people who strike it rich so quickly in some rich, quick scheme like winning the lottery or investing in crypto for pennies and becoming fabulously wealthy, the reason why we hear about these stories is because they're so rare. Buying a lottery ticket is a waste of money, but the government wants you to dream about maybe while you're sitting on your couch watching TV and eating potato chips. Somehow you'll be a winner of the lottery and live a fabulously wealthy life for the rest of your life. It ain't going to happen. Overnight success and rich, quick schemes are fantasy. They just don't really exist. And many times people don't understand what it takes to be a success, so they don't even try. Do you have a dream of success in sales and in business like I do? Do you want to be a successful salesperson and a success in business? Then you've got to work hard and long for many, many years and be persistent. I bought this wood and copper plaque almost 40 years ago that I'm looking at right now. I have it prominently displayed on my desk, and I have for 40 years. It's scratched and stained and dented now and a little dusty at the base of the stand, and I read it every day. It is a quote from Calvin Coolidge, who said, "Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent." End quote. This quote emphasizes the importance of persistence and determination over mere talent, genius, or education. Believe me when I tell you, I have known several true geniuses in my life, true geniuses who just never made it. Pathetic. I am reminded that I bumped into the valedictorian from my high school graduating class when many years after graduation, I was at a professional baseball game entertaining clients. Good guy. We weren't friends, but we were friendly and with one another in high school. Good guy. When I asked him what he was doing, I expected him to tell me that he was some type of a professional, a doctor or engineer or lawyer or an accountant or the successful owner of a successful business or CEO of some Fortune 500 company, something great. Turns out he was an assistant junior high school teacher, still living with his parents. How sad. Now, don't get me wrong. There certainly, of course, are very intelligent people, talented people, people with connections, people with advanced educations who go on to accomplish great success in their lives. But talent, connections, education, intelligence, while they are all very important, understand that they are just tools for success. You still got to work hard to gain any success in sales, in business, in life, however you define that success. You got to work hard, and you have got to be persistent. Talent, connections, education, intelligence can all be very important, but you got to work hard. While these attributes of intelligence or education or talent, connections, while these attributes are valuable, they are not sufficient enough for success. They're just not. They're not sufficient enough for success without the relentless pursuit of one's goals. Perseverance is key to overcoming challenges and achieving success in life. Hard work and persistence is the number one fundamental principle for personal and professional achievement, and certainly in sales. I told you in a previous episode of the Selling Podcast that when asked to define myself with one word, that word is relentless. Being persistent is part of that relentlessness. And being persistent isn't easy. Oh, it's easy, all right, to be persistent when times are good, when the economy is humming along and the sales just keep pouring in. But it's another thing when times are tough. I can tell you that you have got to be persistent in sales, especially when times are tough, when the economy is slow, when you keep telling yourself, not only will I survive, but I am going to gain market share and thrive. It's tough when your sales managers are afraid and they keep calling more and more sales meetings, driving you crazy, keeping you from making the sales calls necessary to grow your business, or in bad times, the sales calls necessary to save your business. There will be times when you lose a client, when you lose a big sale, when the company and industry that you are working in is laying off people, employees at your firm getting fired, and you're faced with the possibility of getting fired yourself. When other salespeople at your company quit and become your competitors, when suddenly, it does happen suddenly, by the way, suddenly your income doesn't cover your expenses and you've got to carry on and persist. Now, I can tell you that you have got to be persistent during the bad times and you'll understand the concept, but it isn't until you live it that you'll have the ability to face yourself, to face life and say, okay, what am I made of? How am I going to figure this out and keep persisting in sales and in business when it looks like the world is falling apart? It's one thing to say, it's another thing to live it, right? You've got to experience it, feel the pain, collect yourself, be strong, be bold in the face of adversity, and keep on working, keep on persisting, keep on being persistent. I can tell you, but you have to live it. You've got to actually experience it. It's one thing to see a photograph of Paris. It's another thing to be walking down the Champs-Élysées, right? You've got to live it to truly understand it and to grow stronger and persist. I love what Seth Godin said, quote, If you can keep going when the system is expecting you to stop, when everyone else expects you to give up, if you can keep going, persevere, you can achieve extraordinary results. End quote. If you can keep going, endure through the struggle, persist while everyone else around you is giving up and everyone is telling you to give up, telling you that you just are not going to make it. If you can stay focused on your goals, keep selling. I am here to tell you, my brothers and sisters on the path to success in sales, if you can keep on keeping on, in the long run, you get it all. Yes, I've seen it many times in my sales career. I've been through 4 significant recessions in my business when times have been tough. Layoffs, less and less income personally, less and less money coming into the company, and the industry is in recession or depression. When I am focused not on the problems, not on the recession in my industry, not on the fear, but I'm focused on increasing market share so that I'll be stronger when I make it to the other side. How does a salesperson persist? You keep attending networking events. You stay focused on your goals. Stay focused on success. Stay focused on the long term. You try and stay positive. Keep a positive, emotionally balanced perspective on business and on life. You keep prospecting and be positive with your clients and prospects and the other people in your business. Your clients and your prospects are going to be feeling the same unhappiness, the same depression that you feel, the same negativity that you are faced with. Help them to be positive. Help your clients and your prospects to be positive. Help them to prospect. Help them to see a positive future. Help them to give better service to their clients. Don't be Pollyannish. This is not a time to be playing the game of some stupid fantasy. No, don't be unrealistic with your clients. Be realistic. Be creative. Help your clients and help your prospects to focus on the long term. Help them to see a positive future. Help them to build their business during the tough times. That's what I do. I learn more and more about my clients' businesses. I learn more and more about my prospects' businesses. I learn more and more about my referral partners in the industry. I learn more and more about their businesses as well. Learn more about their business and see how I can help them to network and who I can introduce them to so they can build their business, even in the tough times. And make more and more sales calls. When you're tired, when you're exhausted, make an extra sales call at the end of the day, or make 5 more sales calls, or 20. Never give up. Churchill said, never, 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 never give up. Yes! What choice have we got? What else is there? I'm not going back to my parents' house. I'm not going back to my cubicle and calculator on the 37th floor of an office building making $15,000 a year in advertising. I'm not going back to that. If you and I want to be successful in sales and in business, never give up. Never. There is an ancient story written in the book, The Art of War. The Art of War. Everybody read that in the 80s. The Art of War. I highly recommend reading it. It was a great book, a classic. There was a story written in that book about a Chinese general crossing a river with his troops to face the enemy. And he directs his troops to burn the boats after they cross the river. He directs them to burn the boats and to crack their cooking pots. The only way for them to survive was to advance into the teeth of the enemy and win. The only way for you and I to advance and win is to be persistent. Don't give up. Let your competitors give up so you can eat their lunch. And when times are tough, you never know when things will turn around or when you can bring in that next big account, that next big sale. You just never know when success could be right around the corner. Zig Ziglar used to tell the story about a prospector during the Colorado Gold Rush who, after several months of prospecting and digging for gold, found a small pocket of gold in the dirt and invested his life savings into more equipment. Unfortunately, after several more months of digging and prospecting for gold, There was no more gold to be found. Frustrated, he gave up and sold his equipment and gold mine for pennies on the dollar. The new owner hired an expert to teach the new prospector more about gold mines and learn more about prospecting for gold. The new owner of the gold mine continued to dig and dig and dig and dig and prospect for gold and dig and dig and dig, and eventually discovered that the main gold vein was just 3 feet from where the original prospector had stopped digging. The new owner struck one of the richest veins of gold in Colorado history. I've seen it many times in my career. I've seen it with other salespeople. I've seen it with other business owners. People often give up just short of success, missing out because they just don't persist a little longer, a little longer, a little longer. Keep on persisting. Many quit just 3 feet from success. In sales, in goal setting, and in life, through the challenges we face, I encourage you to persevere, persist. Believe that someday, some way, somehow, you will achieve success. Be persistent. And here's one more bit of advice I will give you when it comes to persistence in sales and in life. Learn to love the struggle. Yes, regardless of the outcome, learn to love the journey, even the struggle itself. I don't know if I found the career of sales or sales found me, but I love it, all of it. I highly recommend that you learn to love it as well. The ups and the downs, all of it. Come to understand that selling is what we do. It is who we are. It is what we are. We don't struggle through the sales so that at some future point we get a payday. No. We sell because we sell. That's who we are, salespeople. That's what we do. It is ingrained in us. It is how we define ourselves, period. I hope that makes sense to you. And if it doesn't, I hope that someday it will make sense to you. Whenever someone asks me what I do, the first thing I say is I'm a professional salesman. I could talk about what I sell and the industry I am in afterwards, but first and foremost, I am a salesman. I am reminded of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I watched a video of him being interviewed many years ago where he tells the story of his very humble beginnings when he came to the United States and got a job carrying bricks at construction sites. He would get up early in the morning, go to the gym and work out. Then he would work all day at his job. Then he would go to the gym and work out. Then he would eat dinner and head back to the gym to work out. He gave up a great deal during those years. He didn't make much money. He didn't have any friends. He did not live a balanced life. Quite the contrary. He worked out. He slept. He ate. He worked out. That was his life for many years. He was completely committed to bodybuilding. Think he worked that hard at the gym because he knew that someday he'd win the Mr. Olympia award? Think he worked out that hard at the gym because he knew that someday he'd win so many bodybuilding awards? Think he worked out that hard because he knew that someday he'd be an internationally recognized Hollywood superstar actor and win a Golden Globe Award? Think he worked that hard because he figured that if he did that someday he would be governor of California? No, none of those things. He worked out hard because he worked out hard. That's it, period. He just loved working out. He worked out hard because he worked out hard. The pain of a workout, he didn't shy away from the pain. He sought it out. He loved it because he knew that the more pain he could endure, the stronger he was getting through perseverance, through persistence. Every day, the better he was getting. He worked out and weight trained because he worked out and weight trained. That was who he was. That was his identity. He loved it. He loved all of it, the pain as well. It was part of the process, and he loved the process. And that's how he was able to be persistent, because that's how he defined himself. How do you define yourself? How do we stay motivated, persistent? The answer lies in how we define ourselves. We define ourselves as salespeople, and we can take it, the rejection, the learning, the success, the excitement, all of it, the good times and the bad. Did Schwarzenegger's working out as aggressively and consistently as he did guarantee his success? Absolutely not. For every Arnold Schwarzenegger, there are hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people who never make it out of the gym, and they never gain the success and notoriety that he did. No, commitment and hard work and persistence doesn't guarantee success, but it is the only way to achieve success. The only way. I'm also reminded of a story that Seth Godin tells, that he went to a small local jazz club near his home featuring some local nondescript jazz band. And at some point, Godin noticed that one of the musicians was Donald Fagen of Steely Dan, playing the keyboards on the side of the stage. I love this story. I love it so much. Fagen didn't play in the band that night to make money. I'm sure they probably didn't pay him a dime. He played music because that's what he does. Play music. He plays music. That's it. That's how he defines himself. Hell, the Beatles spent 2 years in Hamburg, Germany from 1960 to 1962, playing in strip clubs and playing music in dive bars, learning, honing their craft, being musicians, changing their style, trying something new, learning. That was 10, 12 years before they came to America. 10, 12 years before they came to America. Think they knew in 1960, 1961, 1962, when they were playing in strip clubs and dive bars, think they knew that someday they were going to be coming to the United States in 1964, 12 years later, and becoming the sensation that they became? No way! But they were able to be persistent because that's how they defined themselves. As musicians, they played music because they played music, period. For every Beatles band, there are hundreds of thousands of bands in the world still playing music in strip clubs and dive bars. If the Beatles were never successful and never came to the United States and were still back in Germany, people all over the world never would have heard the song Komm, gib mir dein Hand. I'll let you look it up. Speaking of entertainment and learning, if you find value in the Sell-In podcast, please like and subscribe. Yes, I'm asking you to like and subscribe so that you never miss a single episode of the Sell-In podcast. Also, do you know a salesperson or a business owner? Ask them if they'd like to make more sales and grow their business. Tell them they'll learn how to do that, how to make more sales by listening to the Sell-In podcast, and forward them the link to the Sell-In podcast. And thank you very much for listening. Here are some more important examples of persistence. Colonel Sanders, I have a poster in my office of the Colonel, which inspires me. Why? Because Colonel Sanders was 65 years old when he first started selling fried chicken. It is said that he asked more than 1,000 restaurants to buy his fried chicken recipe before he got his first yes. More than 1,000 restaurants before he got his first yes. How he was able to be persistent? Because selling fried chicken recipes and being a successful salesperson, a successful businessman, was how he defined himself. It is said that Thomas Edison experimented over 1,000 times before he created the electric light bulb. When asked if he was disappointed that he experimented and failed over 1,000 times and still had not yet created the electric light bulb, Edison replied to the interviewer, quote, "Son, you don't know how the world works. I did not fail at all. I have found 1,000 ways not to create the electric light bulb, which brings me 1,000 steps closer to being successful at inventing the electric light bulb. And all of those failed experiments that you just referred to, I learned a great deal. And many of those experiments may lead to other inventions in the future. End quote. I love that story so much. Edison didn't work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with short naps through the day and night because he knew that one day he'd be a world-renowned historic success. He didn't work 24/7 for 40 years knowing that his inventions that he created would someday lead to the creation of General Electric, a company that would someday hire 25% of the workforce in the United States. No, he worked that hard. He was persistent because he was an inventor. Period. Warren Buffett didn't become a billionaire until he was 55 years old. Until then, he was just a mere tens of millions millionaire, and then hundreds of millions millionaire for many years until that time. But he kept working hard for many years, and he persisted. Ray Kroc wanted to be a successful business owner, and he bought and sold many a failed business, numerous businesses, until he bought out the original owners of McDonald's. He had an idea to use the same strategies of car production used at Ford Motor Company for the production and distribution of fast food. When he finally came up with the idea and made the investment, he was 52 years old. He worked long and hard for many, many, many years. Think someone else had to motivate him? No way! He defined himself as a successful businessman. And that was motivation alone to persist. That was enough. I've included a link in the show notes to a motivational speech by Brian Tracy called Persistence. Only the top 1% keep going. My friends, keep going. Keep going in sales. Keep going. Have persistence. The willingness to endure is the single most important quality for success in sales. And we sell. We're salespeople. Persist, my friends. Be persistent. How do salespeople persist in the face of competition and the economy, good times and bad? We keep meeting more and more people. We keep prospecting. We keep getting in front of people we can do business with. Keep making appointments. Keep making sales presentations. Keep in touch with your clients. Continually ask your clients and prospects for more business. Keep attending networking events. Taking leadership positions at trade associations in your industry. Keep learning more and more and more about your industry. Keep learning more and more about your clients' businesses. Keep learning more and more about your prospects and your referral partners' businesses. We keep reading more and more books written by successful salespeople, successful marketers. We keep reading about sales, learn more and more about influence, sales techniques, listen to podcasts and books on audio produced from successful professionals like me who have been in the business for many years, who want to teach you how to be successful. Read more and more books written by successful business people. Continue to learn how you can provide better service to your clients. Learn more about providing your clients with superior products and great service, better and better service to your clients. How you can provide value to your clients over and above the products and services that you are expected to provide them. Learn how to provide value first to your prospects and to your industry. Keep learning. Keep growing. Take calculated risks and keep growing. Keep making phone calls to learn about your clients and prospects. Follow up. Keep making sales calls. Keep making sales presentations. When you're exhausted, make one more sales call, or 5 or 20. Take the long view. One thing is for sure. 5 years will pass. 10 years will pass. 25 and 50 years or more will pass. The only question is, Where will you be in 5 years? Where will you be in 25 years? Where will you be in 50 years? Will you be a successful salesperson? A successful business owner? Or will you say to yourself, wah, life is hard, business is hard, sales is difficult. What's the use in trying, and come up with 100 reasons why you shouldn't try and then sit in front of your TV and eat potato chips for the rest of your life? There will be times, believe me, there will be times when you want to give up. I know it's heartbreaking. I'm with you. I've been there many, many times. Sales is tough, business is tough, and sometimes it's heartbreaking when times are tough, when the business just isn't there. You've got to pick yourself back up and stay the course. Stay focused on success. Have a long-term perspective. Stay focused on the long-term plan. Keep working hard, hard, hard. Don't give up, ever. Don't give up. Stay persistent. And one more very important point, the good times. When the money comes a little easier, when the sales come a little more frequently, when that little voice in your head says, I've worked hard for a long time, now it's easy money. I've kind of done it. I've worked hard enough. I think I'll take a couple of days off, just for the heck of it. Take half days on Fridays, maybe Thursdays too. I think I'll watch TV instead of updating my database and scheduling more appointments for the future with clients and prospects. Maybe I'll go home early, play with the kids. Do not listen to that voice. That is the death knell. Through the good times, when you think it's easy to make money in sales, work as hard as ever, as hard as you can. Why? Because I'm here to tell you, winter is coming. I'll say it again. Winter is coming, and it's right around the corner. If you don't continue to work hard, even through the good times, one day soon, things will change in the industry or change at your company, or things will change in the economy, and all of a sudden you'll find yourself without money or without a job, and you'll ask yourself, what the heck just happened? And believe me, the collapse, when it happens fast, real fast. One day you wake up and you whine to yourself, it was so good for so long. I thought it'd last forever. It never does. Winter is coming. Write this down and paste it on your wall of your office. Winter is coming. So through the bad times and the good times, when you've got to endure the slings of outrageous fortune, ask yourself this question: what am I made of? What am I made of? What have I got? That's what Shakespeare meant when he wrote, to be or not to be. That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing, end them. During the good times and the bad times, what are you made of? That's what I ask myself. When that little voice in my head says, it's hard, I want to go home, I want to relax, I think to myself, Jeffrey, what are you made of? And I make one more sales call, or 5, or 20. And one more thing about persistence. Does persistence mean that we do the same thing over and over and over again until we have successful outcomes and gain success? Well, maybe, but most likely no. Persistence is just the start, the attitude along the journey. Persistence is the fuel that will keep you going, moving you forward, moving you toward your goals, even in the darkest night. Persistence. Reflect on your strategy. Is it working? If yes, let's have some more of that. If no, consider making some changes to redirect your focus while always keeping your eyes on the prize. And one last comment about persistence and success in sales. You never quite get there. Sure, be successful and appreciate your success, but you've got to keep striving. Achieved an important goal? Great. Now make a new goal, a better goal, a more challenging goal. I will be creating a goal-setting workshop in a future episode of the Sell-In podcast that you will not want to miss. Keep on implementing new ideas. Have an idea to grow your business? Take the risk. Grow your sales even more. Have an idea for a second business or a third? Great. Have an idea for an investment? Take the risk and grow. Keep moving. They say if you don't keep moving, they throw dirt on you. Keep selling. Keep learning. Keep applying new strategies. Be optimistic, be creative, and keep growing. How tall should a tree grow? As tall as it can. I love this John Maxwell quote. Successful people keep moving forward, even as they make mistakes, experience losses, and feel discouraged. They just don't quit, end quote. John Maxwell is one of my favorite authors, and I have included a link in the show notes to his book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. Live them and reach your potential. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. It is the key to success in sales and in any business. This is a poem very often read by Brian Tracy. No one knows who wrote it, but Brian Tracy talks about it from time to time. It's a great, great poem. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. For life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns. And many a failure turns about when you might have won had you stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with just another blow. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight when you're hardest hit. It's when things seem worse that you must not quit. Now get out there and sell.
We hope you found this episode of the Sell-In podcast helpful and of interest. Please make sure to like, rate, and review. And mention this podcast to a friend or a business associate. Have a comment about this podcast? Have a topic you'd like Jeffrey to discuss? Feel free to contact Jeffrey directly at jeffrey@sellin.net. He'll read and review every one of your emails. That's jeffrey@sellin.net. .net as in networking for success in sales. Now, take what you've learned today and get out there and sell. See you next time on the Sell-In Podcast.